All right, Fresh, let's go to our next game. I think we both agree that this, outside of maybe the last game we'll talk about, that this possibly has the potential to be the best game of the weekend. And that's Boise State traveling to Washington. Washington, at time of record, is a 14.5-point favorite in this game. This is step one, game number one to Michael Penix Jr.'s Heisman campaign here, folks. Guys, again, it stinks. Washington just lost their running back, Cameron Davis, for the entire season to an injury. That hurts a little bit. But to be honest with you, I don't think it hurts that much for the Huskies. And then here's the reason why, Fresh. You got two amazing wide receivers out there in McMillan and Odunzen. I love them. Dylan Johnson's going to be the first one up to step up to get those carries that Davis would have got. But, you know, the thing I love about Washington is that you're going to force Boise State into nickel and dime packages for this entire game. You're going to be able to spread them out, go three wide at least most of the game, kind of go that spread offense. You can run a little bit of zone read there. I really love this game, though, Fresh. I'll let you go first before I go too deep into my love and kind of hug on Washington State too much.
Well, I think first off, Boise State has a proud football tradition. These kids are going to show up to play, and they actually relish. I think it's a program attribute where they relish playing a Power 5 and beating them. They've done it. They've shown it. It's in the lifeblood of the program of being underestimated in these kind of games and showing up when they have to and getting the job done. I've seen them beat Oregon. We've seen them beat Oklahoma. The line that they've dominated the Mountain West for a long time. This is another test, though, for this coaching staff, because last year was a bump in the, they showed improvement. The year before was kind of not Boise State standard. So they've had two less than subpar Boise State championship, less, void seasons. How do they show up in this first game? If they come out and get the doors beat off of them, that might do a psyche thing, because actually the Mountain West has definitely improved across the board, as we saw what San Jose State was able to move the football on USC and so on and so forth. If they can come out there and be competitive with a very, very highly ranked, very talented team here in Washington, that says more about the coaching staff in the program, and everybody should watch out for Boise State going forward. That offense, the defense, they're kind of a nameless units. You don't really remember, or no one really knows. There's always some random guys who just show up wearing a blue jersey and some orange on them, and they're not Gator colors, and they can't come out there and put on a show. So don't underestimate Boise State, Washington. If you do, your entire season, literally, your entire season will end. I don't care if you win the Pac-12, the playoffs aren't going to happen. They're going to look back and say you still lost to Boise State. Your season could be over before we even hit technically September 5th, if you don't get it done on Saturday afternoon. You've got to show up, take Boise State seriously, and get it done offensively and defensively. Now, Washington, you have a great quarterback. You have great receivers. You have actually three deep. We talk about the top two. There's three deep, four deep, five deep. You can go on there forever. Kalen DeBoer, you can put points on the board. How is your defense going to show up? There's going to be games where that offense is going to meet, and they're going to get stuck against a very good defense. How is your defense going to help this team win football games? You've got to come out and put up stops early, force turnovers, be aggressive. You have a heck of a schedule. You've got to go out there and set the tone now and clean up little things and get good on defense to be able to be comparable to your offense. Then you can't just hang out there and be an offense. We saw what happened last year with USC. They were just an offense, and when it mattered, they lost. You've got to be a comparable football team. Defense has at least got to show up a couple times during the football game. And you've got to start it versus Boise State, coming out there and setting the tone. It's not just about Michael Penix Jr. It's not just about Odunze and McMillan and the rest of the offense. It's about the full squad, both sides of the ball. And if Washington's defense can come out in this football game and show that they want to get noticed too, that sends a major statement to the rest of the Pac-12 and going forward that this team is a fully comparable unit. It's obviously going to be a 60-point Boise State offense as they were under Kellen Moore back in the day, but at least it's a team that can score. If you can come out there and make a statement defensively, it I think gives your team also life of now we've conquered that worry. We actually have a team that can stop somebody. If they come out there and put up 30 points, it's going to keep questions around. Because honestly, if you look back at the San Jose State USC game, San Jose State, they had 21. They scored a touchdown late, but they still put up a ton of yards. They had yards per carry, all that fun stuff. It was not a dominant defensive effort from USC, and there's questions still about the Trojans' defense. They're going to keep following them for a while. Can you silence your own defensive doubters right now in week one, or are you going to keep that lingering over your program? That's what I really want to see in this game. I think you have enough talent to score a million points in this game, but how does your defense actually show up? I take Washington. They're going to cover. They're going to cover the spread. They're going to take care of business. But I really want to see how that defense actually gets after business, if they can actually shut people down.
Yeah, so the question's going to be Boise State allowed under 300 yards passing last year, which was real impressive to me. I took a look at Washington. Washington was averaging over 360 yards passing a game. Not really shocking. I'm giving you those statistics with the Huskies there. It's going to come down to whether about Marco Reed and Jalen Clark, the two outside cornerbacks for Boise State. Are they going to be able to limit? I don't think you're going to be able to stop the passing attack. I really don't. But when it's 3rd and 7, and it's an obvious passing down, and Penix Jr. drops back to pass, last year Washington completed almost 57% of their third downs. They were absolutely phenomenal on third downs last year. Are you able to get a hand on the football and bring the punt team out instead of continuing a long drive for the Huskies? I think that's going to be the breaking point of this game here. I'm watching those outside matchups here, but I really think Penix Jr. is going to go off. I think that this is going to be step one in a Heisman campaign here. I think that he is going to look to show the world that he was the best quarterback in the country last year. I know Caleb Williams has the hardware, and everyone's going to point to that. They're going to point to Bryce Young, CJ Stroud from 22. Go back and look at Penix Jr., folks. Look at everything they accomplished with the Huskies. The kid was absolute fire. This is my favorite pick of the year. I'm really rolling hard with the Huskies this season. I'm going to be seeing what they're going to do. Boise State, I'm going to give you, Trice is going to have to get after Taylon Green. Taylon Green is a good quarterback. He's not a phenomenal. He is really good for the Mountain West. George Holani, again, over 1,000-yard rusher. Are they going to be able to limit him? If Washington's defense comes to play and does very similar things that you saw them doing last season as a team, especially limiting, you take a look that they were averaging only 3.5 yards a carry defensively. If they're able to continue to do those things, watch out for this Washington Huskies team. This could get ugly quick, fast, in a hurry. I don't think it will. I think this is going to be a very entertaining game. And I think it's going to be really fun to watch Washington. But I think Boise State is going to give them everything and anything they can handle during this game.
It's Braylon Trice. I'm happy you mentioned him. He was our first team, unanimous first team All Rational Conference defense. I want to see how he comes out because he obviously has national, prowess across the board. They lost some depth on that team who had pass rushing ability and had some sacks. He's the returner. How does he assert himself as the lead dog, pun intended, and get after it? And maybe, can he get 2 sacks? Can he cause some disruptions and really set the tone as I'm here to stay and I'm not only going to be the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year, but I'm trying to be National Defensive Player of the Year and bring home tons of hardware in December.
Absolutely.